Hello! Today I'm going to do kind of my favorite bridal look, and it's not necessarily like my favorite, the one that I always gravitated towards or that I liked doing the most even. It was just the one that was most frequently requested or picked, I guess. So that's why I'm doing this look today. It's kind of that classic traditional bridal look, but it's got a little bit of a color twist to it. I often found a lot of brides didn't want to go super neutral on their wedding day. They wanted something a little bit different or a little bit more fun, something that they weren't normally wearing, and that's how this look kind of came into play. I'm also going to be giving you just some basic bridal tips, either if you are applying and you are a makeup artist, or if you are the bride yourself, and stuff to just kind of be aware of and, keep in your back pocket for whatever makeup artist is working on you, or if you're doing your own makeup. So sunscreen is a very important issue. I prefer to put an SPF on underneath. This is by Coola, and it's unscented mineral sunscreen. It's a matte finish, which is really nice, and it's certified organic. I got this from the lovely ladies at BeautyCode Boutique in Kamloops. So I would put something like this on underneath. That would be my first step. The next step I would take would be to use a foundation primer. I always liked the Laura Mercier, just regular, no oil-free, no illuminating, just a basic primer. I like to add finishes onto the skin afterwards if I want it a little bit shiny somewhere, if I want it a little bit matte somewhere else. So for the most part, I like to keep the products kind of neutral before that. The reason I like using a brush to apply primer is because the primer left on the brush when I do my foundation will just help it blend. All right, while that's kind of setting on the skin, I am going to do my eyes first off because I like to have a super perfect base and I don't want any fallout kind of disrupting that. So I'm going to zoom in and we'll take it from there. And my first step, always with brides, was to use a primer on the eyelids so that the makeup lasts longer and also it has a good intensity to it. And my go-to was always the MAC paints. You can see this one is well loved. This is in Bare Canvas. Bare Canvas and Untitled were my staples. I almost always used them. So I'm picking some of that up on my finger and I'm going to take it all over the lid. Really ensure that you're melting away those edges with your fingers so that you don't get any hard lines in your shadow application. I also like to bring it underneath because I will be putting quite a bit of shadow there as well. Next, I'm going to take this matte pink color from MAC, and this is called Yogurt. And because I have kind of a pinkier skin tone, I'm doing purples on the eyes, I'm going to use this kind of matte pink to go all over the lid. If you had a more yellow skin tone, something like MAC Mylar would work really well for that. So I'm picking that up on a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to put it all over the lid. While it is going all over the lid, I want to focus it on the brow bone and inner corner of the eye especially. Next, I'm going to go in with my contour color, and I'm going to use MAC's Shale for this. So I'm taking that right in the squishy bit of my eye here, the contoured area. And then I'm making sure to blend that kind of out opposed to down so I don't give my eyes kind of a sleepy look, which I might like sometimes, but not so much for bridal. I'm going to keep building that up in intensity, especially at that outside edge, and use a big old fluffy brush to just really make sure there's no hard lines. The next color I'm going to use is Sketch by MAC, and I use this color so frequently in bridal. It's really quite surprising because it seems quite intense and dark, but it works for all eye colors, I find. So I'm picking that up on kind of a stiff brush, and I'm going to take it in this outside corner of my eye on the lid. I want the majority of the product to be on the mobile lid, and then just the tiniest bit of it starting to blend in at this outside corner where the crease is. And then I'll take this brush just to kind of buff those two colors together. And then this brush to blend in between. And I'm going to do lots of little layers like that until I get the intensity I want. If you want your eyes to look bigger, make sure the deepest intensity of color is focused right at that lash line and blending up. Next, for something just a little bit extra, because this is pretty and it's nice, but I like a little bit of highlight and a little bit of surprise and shimmer, I'm going to take MAC's Crystal, and I know this is in a different shape. It came out of an old palette that I have, and I've just got it kind of decanted into my other palette. I like a nice stiff brush to really pack it on that inside corner, blending into that outer edge. Before I move on to eyeliner, I'm going to take the shadows underneath. So starting with that crystal on the inner third of the eye under, and then taking a pencil brush and shale, our contour color, 2/3 of the way across. And with the same brush, taking sketch and intensifying that outer lower lash line. Now for liner, I'm going to use my Bobbi Brown gel eyeliner, and this was always my favorite for brides. It's just so beautifully smooth and glides on, and it lasts really well. The important part here is to get it right into those lashes to make them look nice and thick and to shape the eye. The top line of the liner for this look isn't really going to matter because we're going to be kind of blending it out afterwards. So basically, anywhere you see lashes, put liner. Now, I like to make this a little bit softer than just a hard gel line. So I'm going to take my NARS Pandora eyeshadow and an angled brush and just kind of manipulate the outside edge of that to soften it. And it also helps set it. Not that gel eyeliners really need to be set. I'm then just going to take the black that's left on this angled brush and just press it into this lower lash line. This will help shape the eye and make the lashes look extra thick without having to put like a harsh line underneath. Next, I'm going to take a Q-tip and just gently clean off that waterline. You can see how much I got off of there. Now, if you want a really dramatic, smoldery sort of look, you could put black or a dark purple or something on that waterline. I'm going to take a flesh tone color. This is my Shiseido corrector pen in number 2, I believe. The Rimmel Scandalize works beautifully for this, and it also lasts a really long time as well. I'm putting quite a healthy amount of this waterline on so it really stays put throughout the day. Putting that lighter color in just kind of opens the eyes up and makes them look a little bit bigger, and it's less dramatic. Now it's time to remove these because I've got my shadow done. Now it looks super weird underneath because I had that shadow shield, so I'm just going to take my Beauty Blender and just kind of remove that hard line. Also using it to clean up the shape on that outer edge. All right, I'm gonna put one coat of mascara on and then I'll move on to the rest of the face. I'm curling my lashes to blend in with the false ones I'll be putting on later, but if you have naturally curly lashes, just skip that step. For this tutorial, I'm using my Urban Decay Lush Lash Mascara, but I strongly recommend you get a waterproof mascara for your wedding day because tears, sweat, and rain, who knows what, you don't want to be having mascara running all the way down your face. A little lower lash mascara and moving on. Now before I put my foundation on, I'm going to put a cream blush on underneath of my foundation, and I'm just going to use this nice bright pink one from my Ben Nye Contour Cream Contour Palette. I realize it seems silly to put blush on before the foundation, but layers will help everything kind of last longer, and I feel like this gives a beautiful glowing from within look. No need to be especially precise because the foundation will blend it out. I'm going to use my Chanel Vitalumiere Aqua for my foundation today, but I would normally use on a bride. My Makeup Forever Face and Body was my favorite. The MAC Face and Body also nice, and Face Atelier makes a really nice similar formulation to that. And the reason I liked those is because they are very water resistant and sweat proof and really buildable in coverage. Those formulations work really well for most skin types as well. I'm using a buffing brush to really work this into the skin, but I always preferred an airbrush for application of these foundations for an actual wedding day. It's just so light and flawless and long lasting. I'm going to conceal next, and I always used my Dermablend palette for this. I think this is a Dermablender. It's the Kryolan. Maybe they're the same company. I can't remember because the label is completely gone. But this one is the Tattoo Cover palette. And I just really loved the range of pinks and yellows here to really make sure I'm getting all of the colors I don't want to be gone. A good rule of thumb for applying under eye concealer is use the opposite color to the color you're trying to remove. So I've got blue, so I'm using something with a little bit of an orange base. If you're red under there, use something with a yellow tone. I'm going to use that same palette and the yellow colors down here and do any blemish concealing. Light feathery strokes just on the top of that blemish will make it look the most seamless and get rid of that color without being cakey and heavy looking. Now I'm going to powder. So the Laura Mercier the Laura Mercier loose setting powder is what I'm going to use today. I would often just use my RCMA no color powder, or you know, even your Rimmel Stay Matte would work good for this. Essentially, you want something that will absorb the oil. I'm using a smaller brush to go in the smaller areas of my face to really get a nice concentration of powder in those important areas I've concealed. Switching to a big fluffy brush for the rest of the face for a light application. For contouring, I'm going to use MAC Harmony. I just love this color for a bridal contour. It's like halfway between a blush and a contour color, so I just think it's really nice and pretty. Not altering the face shape for bridal, but just accentuating that natural bone structure. I'm going under the cheekbone, blending up towards the top of the cheekbone, under the jaw, and working it down onto the neck. And then adding a little bit into the hairline just to give a nice balanced look. All important double chin be gone, blending down onto the neck. I'm going to pop a little bit more blush on. I love the layering for bridal looks, and I'm going for a matte blush. This one is the Tarte Doll Face blush. It's a nice bright pink color. The e.l.f. Pink Passion will work lovely for this. I used to always use NARS Orgasm, but I'm just kind of over it right now. It's not matte at all, but I still just loved its finish. So I'm using the same brush I used to apply my powder earlier, and I'm putting it right on the apple and then sweeping back. I start with a heavy amount of blush because it will dissipate throughout the day and you still want it to show up for photos. Next up is highlighting, and I love the Kevyn Aucoin Candlelit highlighter. I've probably been using it to death, but it's just such a beautiful, subtle shimmer without being super like bright, and that's what you want for a highlight on your wedding day, is subtlety. So I'm using my same brush I used to put the translucent on, and I'm just gonna buff that to the top of the cheekbone. You want to avoid getting too close to the eyes as it might accentuate any texture or fine lines there. I like to bring it above the brow bone and a bit on the bow of the lip, but just remembering to keep it nice and subtle. I also like to put just a little bit on the inside corner of my eyes. I'm going to do eyebrows next, and I'm just going to take a sponge to remove any of the product, foundation, and whatnot that might have gotten in there. I'll use a spoolie to give them a nice brush through. And my Anastasia Brow Wiz in brunette. Fill in only where needed, and I also like to make sure to give a good brush through with a spoolie so it doesn't look too heavy and you've got a nice natural but clean looking brow. I'm also going to take, to set that and just give some extra dimension, my wedge and print mixed together on a fine angle brush. Eyebrow makeup can feel a little strange for people who don't normally wear it, but just trust me, it is so important for photos on your wedding day. And my preference for setting brows is actually just taking a little bit of hairspray. This is just like a Garnier Hold and Flex ultra strong hairspray and that spoolie. And I'm just gonna spray some of that onto the spoolie, and that's how I'm gonna set. I prefer hairspray because it's not glossy like a clear mascara, and it also just holds a lot better. So lips and a little bit of lashes, and we're done. For the lips, I'm going to be lining my lips in MAC Subculture. I'm filling in with a lip liner that's close to my own natural lip color to balance any unevenness. And if you prefer a more natural lip on your wedding day, just add a little balm to this and you're done. I don't like using a whole lot of lip gloss for bridal makeups because it dissipates so quickly and it's really messy transferring onto the groom for that all-important first kiss. So I like to use just classic lipsticks. The balm stains that are out right now would work really, really well for that as well, like the Revlon Kissable or the more matte finish ones like Tarte and NARS make. Clinique also really great for those kind of jumbo crayon balm stains. I'm going to go with my old classic though, which is MAC Brave, which is this pink color mixed with a little bit of MAC Cherish, which is this a little bit more nude or tan, and it just tones down the super pinkiness of the Brave. A trick for making your lipstick last is to really work that first coat into the lip with a lip brush, then blot with a tissue, take a little bit of translucent powder over top of the lip, and put another layer of the lipstick on over top of that. Now, because I'm not using a gloss, I sometimes like to take a shimmery lighter color. This is MAC's Bare Trance. And I'll take a little bit of that on my lip brush. And I'll put it just in the center of the lower lip and the upper lip. Now, I realize this seems like a lot of products and a lot of steps for just a lip. But if you're wanting that full-on last all-day look, this is going to work for you. If not, then just use whatever parts you like and omit the rest. Lastly is the lashes, and I'm going to use these Andrea half strips. These are 301. As usual, I'm going to use Duo Lash Glue. I'm using the other end of my tweezers to get a really precise application and amount on that lash. And then looking down, I'm just going to place that right against the lash line at the outside corner. So that gives a nice kind of lift at the outside edge, but I do like just a little bit more fullness in this area. So I am going to take just a few individuals. These are the Ardell Short Black. This method is going to be the most comfortable for people who don't normally wear lashes but want that little extra drama for their wedding day. I blended with mascara, a couple of squirts of the Fix Plus, and that's it. Come back again for something new. Thanks. Bye-bye.